You know, we're vibing. I am just gonna shift you that way a little bit. Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elmo. Today, I don't even know what I'm doing. Today, I'm doing the counting the days tag. I was tagged in this by Melanie at the dark corner of the library. I am so unprepared for this. I tried to film like 2 videos this morning and I ended up deleting it because I was just not talking sense. So here we are. What is a book that excites you because of its cover? I have too many pretty books that I would like to read. I think probably On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Vuong. It's just so shiny and pretty, and also like Wartime Letters, which, oh my gosh. Disciples of the Soil by Mure. I mean, the cover is pretty cool as is. It's very nicely illustrated, but so is the inside. It's like watercolor. It's beautiful. But the Ocean Vuong definitely, I think maybe as well. Hell Followed With Us has a really very nice cover that I am absolutely hyped to read, and it's got sprayed edges. Yeah, there's a lot of pretty books that I am excited for, but those two will probably be the top of my list because shiny and special. So yeah. Question 2, what's a book that excites you because of its author? If this is your first video of mine, I am obsessed with Ray Bradbury and Douglas Adams. Books I'm excited to read because of their author. Something the Wicked, This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. I am currently reading a book by Charles G. Finney that I borrowed from the library called The Circus of Dr. Lau. The idea of like mystical circuses is a huge trope in fantasy, I've discovered, and Something Wicked is very much of that era. The Finney, I believe, was first published in like 34, and I think that Bradbury is not too far. Yeah, because Bradbury is the 60s, 40s to 60s, so things like The Night Circus as well by, I think it's Erin Morningstern, are on my periphery. They sound like something interesting. Yeah, Something Wicked for sure is probably going to be the next Bradbury I read. I also have Illustrated Man and the Martian Chronicles that I need to read by Bradbury. I also have the massive, like, the first volume, I don't have the second one yet, of the Bradbury short stories. It's like 1,000 pages. One day I'll get to it, but until then, we've got this to read. I have the second Hitchhiker's book I need to read, but I also have the third. This is a very, very fancy McSpancy commemorative edition, I believe. Yeah. So it's a limited edition book. It's almost mint as well. There's like barely any damage to it, which obsessed. It's the first run of the printing as well. So I don't know if these were reprinted at any point, but this is from the original print run, But yeah, these two are probably the big ones that I'm excited to read because of the author. I think as well, Song of Achilles, I'm pretty hyped to read because of the author. I really, really loved Circe. It's gonna stay on my shelf and I may reread it eventually. But Song of Achilles, I know it is different. I've heard that it is a bit different to Circe, which, you know, but I haven't heard anything necessarily bad about Song of Achilles, so yeah. And a lot of people I know have read it and really enjoyed it, so that's a selling point. So yes, these three because of the author. Also, it's not released yet, but the Hunger Games, I think it's called, is it Sunrise on the Reaping? I pre-ordered that and I'm very excited for it next March, so yeah. What is a book that excites you because of its premise? Ooh. There's a few. I mean, I Who Have Never Known Men is definitely interesting premise-wise. If you're wondering what this is, somehow transporting it from the bookstore to home, the film is like come off, but not the whole way because this bit is still glued and then this bit isn't, which I just don't understand. But I will probably have to rip it off because it's just not nice. But I Who Have Never Known Men, it's about a bunch of women who are locked in a basement, watched over guards, no memory of how they got there. Most women have memories of like a previous life that they have lived, apart from, I believe, the protagonist. Very interesting premise, very hyped for that. Another one I'm very excited for premise-wise. This is African Psycho by Alain Mabanckou. My first year of uni, I read a book by Mabanckou called Broken Glass. Very interesting technically, a bit gross if you're into that sort of stuff, so, you know, forewarning if you're not. African Psycho is basically about a guy who wants to become a famous serial killer, and so he tries. Apparently it follows his bungled attempts to rise to glorious infamy. Sounds very interesting, and from what I've read of Mabanckou before, it's entirely possible it's going to be absolutely insane, so I'm very hyped. Anything else premise-wise that I'm like, gimme. I mean, I'm sure there is. There's gotta be. I have other premise books that are cool. I don't think I know enough about a lot of my books to know how good they'll be. Yeah, I think just those for that for now. Question 4. What is a book that excites you because of its style? Again, all of my Bradburys, all of my Adamses, probably a couple of my Pratchetts. I've kind of extended my Pratchett collection a bit in recent weeks. Yeah, it kind of made me be a bit existential about how much money I am spending on books, because yikes. But yeah, I think I have started... Oh my god. You hear ceramic moving and you're like, your heart just starts beating. It's fine, nothing's gonna fall. We're all good. This is The Colour of Magic by Terry Pratchett. I started the audiobook ages ago. It's narrated by Colin Morgan, who plays Merlin in BBC's Merlin. Does great voices. Obsessed. And it's taken me forever to get through the audiobook. Well, this was on offer, it was like £3, so I thought, hey, let's just get the paperback and see how we do with that. Another Pratchett I have is Mort. It's about death, like the personified death of the Discworld. Another book I have about personified death is The Book Thief, I believe, told from the perspective of death, at least in the beginning. It's a chunky one though, and I am scared by thick books because I don't finish them. It's a problem. Pratchett's, I like the style of Pratchett's, I like the style of Bradbury's, I like the style of Adams's books. Anything else style-wise? I mean, again, Suzanne Collins. I've still got Mockingjay to read, and if I really want to, I can read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I watched the film when it came out last year, and that's what sparked this whole interest in it. So, you know, maybe. But style-wise, I'm assuming that means writing style. I'm making assumptions about the questions. Anyway, a book that excites you because of its influence. So these ones are probably more kind of classic type books. Ones that everyone's read. First off, we've got Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. I've had this book for forever. I've had this since I was in high school and I've not read it. It's fairly short. I think I got a decent way through it. I did pick it up at one point and started reading it, and it wasn't as wild as I thought it was. But it is a book about war, so selling point for me. But yeah, that's definitely one that I think influence-wise, I feel like Vonnegut fans are a particular breed. We'll do Austen second. This is Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice is the favourite book of multiple people I know, and when I do eventually do a podcast, this will be the first one. So if you see that I'm reading this, you know what you should be excited about. I started listening to an audiobook for this on Spotify, and the chapters were really short. I don't know if it was abridged or what, but the chapters were like 20 minutes long, which just seems so bizarre, but now I'm flicking through it, absolutely possible. But it sounded quite interesting when I was listening to it, and I think just it being such a popular book, it being by a female author of that time as well, is very influential. And then thirdly, for its influence, Misery by Stephen King. Stephen King is a writer. I just had to like remind myself not to say anything derogatory about literally one of the best-selling authors of our time. Stephen King is a big name. You've got It, you've got Christine, you've got Carrie, and you've got Misery. And I feel like there's kind of a canon within Stephen King's own books, which is wild. He's a household name. Everyone knows of something he's written or been involved with. I surprised myself a lot when I realised, oh, he wrote The Thing? Did he write Shawshank Redemption, or am I making that up? Yes, Stephen King wrote Shawshank Redemption. When I found that out, my world shattered into a million pieces. I did not realise how influential Stephen King was in pop culture generally until I did a bit of a deep dive into some of the books he's written and their film adaptations. But yeah, Misery, I've not read it yet. It was on my list for October, but there's a reason I don't do TBRs, so I don't stick to them. So we'll see when we get to this one. For its influence, Stephen King. Big name, big deal. What is a book that excites you because of its emotional weight? When I hear the words emotional weight, I think depression. Now, that isn't necessarily what this question means. It could be like, oh my god, the most joyous book I've ever heard of. When I hear it, I think, ooh, which book is going to depress me the most on my shelf? And I have many answers. I've mentioned some of my morbid interests before. I will do a video on that eventually because people ask for it. Morbid interests, this is one of them. This is All the Planes in the Sky by Garrett M. Graff. This is an oral history of 9/11, which is noted word-of-mouth stories of the day. I have read some of the commission reports. I have that as well. I think in Western history, 9/11 was a big event. It was very much a defining event. I do think it then led to much worse things that the West excused because of this one event, and that depresses me even more. I have a couple books on 9/11 that it is something I'm very interested in, mostly the politics of it and how it was used as an event politically. Emotional Weight, sheesh. And then I have a bunch that are like war fiction, and there's a few of those. So we've got At Night All Blood is Black by David Diop. I believe it is Senegalese War. It was a Booker Prize winner. That doesn't really mean an awful lot to me personally, but if your tastes align with the Booker Prize, then that's a selling point. Emotional Weight. I have Serhii Plokhy's Chernobyl, which I think will be interesting. I also have Alexander Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago, which I read the first part of, and I definitely know that's going to have emotional weight because holy crap. I think as well, I'm pretty sure this will have some emotional weight as well. Not only is it about the 2011 tsunami, but it's about ghost reports from family members, from people who lost family members in that tsunami. Massively interesting thing, but also pretty emotionally heavy of having lost someone and then being revisited by them. No, I don't have that book yet. It is on my read list though. Empire of the Sun is on my read list, which is about, I think it's about the atomic bombs that were dropped in Japan, but that's on my read list. I love a depressing book. This is The Escape Artist by Jonathan Friedland, and it's about the guy who broke out of Auschwitz to warn the world. There are a couple accounts of this dude, Fred Wetzler, who escaped concentration camp. World War II, big interest area of mine. But yeah, lots of emotionally weighty books, so that'll be fun. Question 7, what is a book that excites you because of its sense of humour? Again, we're talking about books I haven't read yet, so I don't know if they're humorous or not. I feel like I cannot actually answer that question. Do I own funny books? I mean, I started reading How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie, but I wouldn't say that's funny. I'd say that's just a bit fucked. I mean, Percy Jackson, I guess. I have kind of in the back of my mind been wanting to read the rest of the Percy Jackson series. I read the first one ages ago, and my older brother had gotten rid of the rest for some reason, so I couldn't read the rest. But those are pretty funny. I think those would be a good time. I think that's about it, because I mean, the Douglas Adams, again, they're pretty funny, so probably those. Maybe the Pratchetts again as well. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really answer that question. So anyway, question 8. What is a book that excites you because of its challenge or difficulty? The Book Thief, because there's a lot of pages. I don't read that many pages. That's gonna be difficult. I think along that same thread, Under the Dome by Stephen King, Night Sleep Death Stars by Joyce Carol Oates, Ray Bradbury Short Stories Volume 1, Time Traveler's Wife by Audrina Fenger, all of those big ass books. Challenge or difficulty? I think as well, kind of calling back to the emotional weight question, that could be difficult, so just shove all those in there as well. Probably some of the memoir type books are going to be tricky ones. This is What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu. I think this will probably be quite challenging because it's a memoir about complex PTSD, essentially. So this one, for sure, this will be a challenge. I also have The Roundhouse by Erdrich, which I started and couldn't finish. Oh, it's so painful. Such a painful book. I got like 20% through and was like, no. So that will probably also be one that's a bit not ideal. But yeah, I think that's the tag. I hope you've enjoyed seeing all of my books. Thank you again, Melanie, for tagging me. Who am I going to tag? Because a lot of people I know have already done this. Ben, at Ben's Corner. Brittany, at Brittany Rose Reads. Ashlyn as well. Take on the tag if you wish. And anyone else who wants to take this tag on, feel free. I'd love to see it. Let me know. Great. That's this video over, I guess. I hope you're all doing good. Hope your reading is going well. I am not reading as much at the moment because seasonal depression. I'll see you when I see ya. See ya. I don't even know what I'm doing, so let's maybe give that a look before you do your intro. No. This one? Also no. And I'm putting these all back in the wrong places. They have places for a reason, Elmo. The Tism won't let me do it wrong. My nose was like blocked for half of that. I don't even want to know what this audio sounds like.